Today in the spotlight are the recent reports suggesting female feticide among Indian communities in Canada, and a 23-year-old woman who is raising her voice to start a discussion about the ongoing sexism. Manvir Bhangu is the founder of the non-profit organization Laadaliyan, which seeks to diminish gender inequalities and celebrate all women in society. So let's shine the spotlight on her courageous journey. Thank you so much for joining me, Manvir.
Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you here. You know, when I was researching for this interview, I looked up the word Laadaliyan, like what it means, and it meant dearest daughters. And I imagined all these little girls with their tiny dresses, and it made me so happy. So why did you name the organization Laadaliyan?
That's exactly why. I feel daughters are extremely important and extremely dear in every family. They should be, at least. And I guess I come from a family in which my sister and I are treated the exact same way as our brother. And I've been so fortunate to have my parents allow me the same opportunities that they've allowed my brother. So I could never really understand why some families wouldn't, or they wouldn't celebrate the fact that they have daughters within their family, or that they frown upon the birth of a daughter. And I always knew I wanted to do something about it. Maybe I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do something. So the first thing was, you know, kind of giving a name to my movement. And I think there was nothing sweeter than the word Laadaliyan. And it's a happy name, you know. It's not a sad name. That's the kind of stuff that comes to mind, like little girls with bow ties in their hair and just, you know, pink cheeks, and they're just like running around and happy everywhere. And so we named it Laadaliyan, celebrating daughters. And I was just sitting in my living room, and I told my mom my idea, and you know, from there it was like, okay, what do I do next? And I didn't know exactly what to do next, but I knew that I should make a Facebook page, so that's what I did. And then from there, it's been 3 years, and we're a strong group of volunteers, and we've started maybe a small but a critical discussion within our community.
Okay, great. Well, talking about discussion, what are some of the things you guys discuss in the organization?
So we have various discussions, actually. I mean, there is so much to discuss. So we discuss gender inequality within the home, which I think is extremely important, because that's where it begins. We discuss just amongst us, even when we're just having a meeting, you know, we'll start talking, and it gets really, you know, we get really deep into our discussion about little tiny things like marriage. You know, there's so much pressure to get married at a certain age for girls, and education, and you should be done your education at this age, and then you should be married, and then you should have kids by this age. And or even just, you know, little things like if someone had a little baby cousin and it's a girl, and oh my God, you know, my family was saying, oh, it's another girl, or oh, maybe it'll be a boy next time.
Yeah, we hear that so much in South Asian.
And what we can do to fix those myths about daughters being a burden and sons being a necessity, even though we live in Canada, and you know, I mean, anywhere in the world now in today's day and age, it's not, it shouldn't be like that. So we discuss everything, and we discuss what boys can do as well to help us, and to kind of maybe generate a bigger discussion.
Okay, well, talking about sexism, we sort of all agree that it exists, and we may have different questions about it. I mean, some people may ask, why does it exist, or why does it still exist? But we do understand that it exists. But what drove you to start an organization that deals with this issue?
Actually, I beg to differ, and I would say that we don't all agree that it exists, simply because a lot of people believe it's just how it's supposed to be. A lot of the elders in our community don't see it as gender inequality. They see it as a cultural norm. They see it as, you know, the sons are supposed to have freedom, and the sons are supposed to take the family name forward, and they're supposed to work and take care of the family, but the daughters are supposed to be a burden. You know, they're only supposed to live with you for a little bit, and then they're supposed to go off to their own home. You know, their only purpose is to get married and to reproduce, and so those kind of things aren't seen as inequality. They're just seen as how it's always been and how it's always going to be. Yeah. And that's exactly what drove me to, you know, to start Laadaliyan, and to say that, no, you know what, things are changing, things can change, and your daughters are just as capable of everything your sons are capable of. I mean, girls nowadays, they do everything. I mean, look at you, you know, you're here. And, and I think what I just, like, the most important thing is I just feel like a home without a daughter is so quiet. Yeah. And it is so, it's, you know, there's no laughter, there's no joy. Girls run around, you know, they make noise, and, you know, they're like the glue that holds the family together. So I just want to let everybody know that it's okay, you know, to have a daughter, to have 2 daughters, to have 3 daughters, it doesn't matter. It's good to have a family of, you know, with sons and daughters. You don't need just your sons. And so that's exactly why Laadaliyan started, because I didn't understand why, you know, why some families would say that they need they need a son, but they don't need a daughter.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I was going through Laadaliya's Facebook page, and in your bio, you mentioned that the organization also tackles harsh practices such as female infanticide and female feticide. And for the viewers who don't know, female infanticide is when a girl child is killed after she's born, and female feticide is when a female fetus is killed while it's still in the womb. And it's very painful to even say, and it's a very severe practice in India. But what's the situation like in the GTA?
It definitely exists in the GTA. Female feticide for sure exists. Female infanticide, I guess maybe because it's a little bit harder to get away with stuff like that here. But female feticide is it's a huge problem. It's turning into a bigger problem every single day. Recent studies have shown that in the past, a lot of women have used sex selection to abort female fetuses, and because they prefer sons. In the past 20 years, there are about 4,400, I believe, 4,400 female fetuses that are unaccounted for, that are missing. So that's close to 5,000 girls who could have grown up and become something or change the world, but they weren't given that chance.
Yeah.
So. And it's having an effect on our community at large, because now there's a skewed ratio of boys to girls, and there's more boys than girls. And I don't think our community is realizing what they're doing when they're choosing the sex of their baby, because later on your sons are not going to have the beautiful girls that they want to date and get married to, because there won't be enough. There'll be more boys, as there already are.
Yeah, well, talking about such harsh practices, how can we help as general audience to help eliminate them?
So I think, one day I hope that they'll be eliminated, that it won't be a problem anymore. That's the whole point of Laadaliyan. But I think we can start within our own families. If we can engage our parents and our brothers and our sisters to kind of understand that it's okay. You know, if you have two daughters and a son, it's perfectly normal. Right?
If you only have daughters, it's okay.
Yes. If you have 3 daughters, it's perfectly fine.
If anything, it's amazing.
Right? It's great. And I mean,
no offense, guys.
We love sons too. And the whole point is to promote equality. We are not. Some people, I think they mistake what we do as that we just like daughters, that we don't want people to have sons.
Yeah.
We are saying that everybody should have equal love for their sons as well as their daughters.
Everyone should have an equal chance to be born.
Exactly. At life, right? And once you're born, you should have an equal chance at opportunities, and you shouldn't be deprived of something. Even little things like, he can go out because he's a boy. You have to stay inside because you're a girl, right?
Yeah.
And the people that our parents fear outside are also boys. So if in our family, if we can start teaching our sons that you should respect all women, and I don't think that respect can come unless there's a daughter in the family. If he can't respect his sister, he can't respect other women. So if he can respect his mother and his sister and his grandma and his cousins, of course he's going to be able to respect women outside, right? So after the family, I think we need to engage the community, because I think our community fails to see that this problem even exists. For example, we were at the Nagar Kirtans in Toronto, and someone came up to us and they're like, "Oh, this exists in Canada?" We're like, "Of course it exists in Canada." It's like, "Oh, I just thought it was in India." I'm like, "No, it happens here. It's just maybe it's just not broadcasted enough, or there's just not hardcore proof to prove
enough evidence,
right?" But it's happening, and him not knowing was evidence enough that people aren't aware of what's going on in our own community. And I think eventually when it catches up to them and they see that, okay, you know what, there's a big difference between the number of boys and number of girls in our community, they'll understand. But it might be too late by then, right?
No, the sooner the better that we start a dialogue at least, and start informing people that this is happening, and stop if you have that sort of mindset. Now, gender discrimination, talking about that, it also acts in subtle ways.
Of course.
I remember I was at an event the other day, and there's this woman who was very sweet, and she came up to me and we were talking, and she asked me, "So how many siblings do you have?" And I said, I have a younger brother. And she got so happy over that. She was like, "Good, that's great for your family, sons are important in families." And I'm pretty sure she was just being sweet, but it underlines a stigma that sons are a necessity in our society. So how do we counter that in-the-face sexism?
When I was younger, I used to be very aggressive. When people made comments like that, I would lash out, and I would just kind of you know, like I wouldn't hold back my thoughts. I would
just
be
put
like,
down your dinner table.
Yes, and, you know, and but then I think when I started Laadaliyan, I remember somebody made a comment, and I was really upset about it. And I remember sharing it with my parents, and my dad was like, "If you want to do this, and if you want to carry on with it, you have to learn how to communicate with people in a dialogue that helps them understand where you're coming from. That you can't be aggressive. You have to say things that don't offend the other person, but rather they may be like, oh, you know what, that's also a possibility. So I mean, again, like it's not changing, it's not going to change overnight, but I think dialogue and discussion and I really think providing good examples helps. Sometimes if you can tell like a family, like, you know what, for example, like this girl, she was brought up in Canada too, and now she's a successful businesswoman. Like, or when we look at politicians, I mean, like MPP Arinder Modi, like she's one of my idols. I look at her and I get so inspired. She's doing so much, and her dad is so proud of her, even though she's not the son. You know, like she's carrying his name forward. Everybody knows her as Gurbaksh Mali's daughter, and so it's. And
you know, as you mentioned when we were talking, that your dad encouraged you to start this organization, and I know my dad has always encouraged me to go out there and achieve whatever I want to achieve.
I get so much courage from that. Like when both my parents have been the reason that I'm able to do this. You know, while being in school, and you know, they've never said you're wasting your time. You know, stop running around. Sit down at home and focus on your schooling. They understand this is important to me, and they understand that I'm trying to do. It may be little, but I'm trying to create some sort of change. Maybe in the future, maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and I see that they are proud of it, you know. I mean, even if it's small ways, they're helping me out as much as they can, and they, I mean, I think parents always struggle to tell their kids, you know, like, oh, you know, especially Punjabi parents, like they struggle with telling them, you know, good job, but like I know, you know, it's the way they are, so I know.
Now, talking of the organization now, you guys hold a lot of events that also include charity events. So what do you guys do at these events, and where do all the proceeds go to?
So we've had, in the past, we've had like mother-daughter tea parties, which was, it was actually really cute. We had like grandmas and moms and daughters come in, and we had, you know, we had cha, and we had some food, and we played like musical chairs, and just, you know, what's in your purse, kind of like those kind of games. It was just an afternoon of just, you know, relaxing and enjoying the company, and we have discussion nights, like I mentioned before, which have been, I think, they've been very good. I mean, we keep them small just because, you know, sometimes the topics can get very, we can get into very deep conversation, and it's nicer to have it with a smaller group. So just engage the girls, you know, younger girls, and we're hoping to engage brothers and sons in the future, because they are also critically, you know, they're important in this discussion. We just started a ladies Zumba night recently, and that was a lot of fun. You know, just kind of getting some activity and, you know, some physical, you know, it's fun. It's a lot of fun to see like moms come out and try Zumba moves and stuff. And then we have our annual fundraisers, which we started in March of 2014. That was our very first one. I had no idea how it was going to go, but I knew I wanted to do it, so we did it, and it was amazing. It was one of, like, it is our most successful event of the year when we have it. It's for the whole family. We have various games. We have a father-daughter hairstyling contest in which we just, you know, we get 5 to 6 fathers and their daughters, and we give them a bucket of various supplies, which some of them, they never know how to use them. And we give them 2 minutes.
That's so cute.
We give them 2 minutes, and we're like, you know what, style your daughter's hair. So some dads will be like, they'll just make like a ponytail and just leave it, and some dads will do like French braids, and it's really cute, and some have no idea because they've never done it before, and then the one with the best hairstyle, they win. It's really interesting to see because some dads have no idea what a donut bun is, and they just like, okay, I'll just leave it on the ponytail, and and then we've had like siblings, like we have sibling games, like, you know, it's a lot of fun. It's engaging, and we have raffle prizes.
It brings the whole family together.
Of course, it brings the family together. I mean, it's not just for families. You know, you can come with your friends, and as long as you believe in that cause, it's for you. It's for everybody. We have Gidda performances. We have a young group of girls perform, and they're just so cute, and it's so nice to see their parents come with them and support them, and you know. And some of them you can just see they're going to grow up and become even better dancers because they have that support. And it's really nice. I mean, we get lots of positive feedback from it every year, so it's fun. And we donate the proceeds to, we've done 2 orphanages in the past. The first year we donated to Unique Home for Girls. It's in Jalandhar. It's a home for 60 girls, maybe 61. And it's run by a lady called Prakash Kaur. And she was an orphan herself. Her parents didn't want her. So she decided to, people just literally leave their daughters at her doorstep, and she takes them in. And so we donated there the first year, and then last year we donated.
That's really
to,
sad.
Yeah. And last year we donated to Jyoti Swarup Kanya Asra. It's near Chandigarh, and again, I think there's about 50 to 60 girls in that orphanage, and it's run by Dr. Harminder Singh. And he acts like the father for them, and he brings them up and he gets them educated and they get them married and everything. And so we're just hoping that our contribution helps them with their well-being and their growth.
Well, talking about events, there's one coming up on May 15th.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
So Sunday, May 15th, we're having our 3rd annual fundraiser, and it's at 6 p.m. at Elite Banquet Hall. Again, it's, like I said, it's one of our most, fun events. It's one of our most loved events. We will be having the performances. We'll be having poetry. We'll have MPP Harinder Mali joining us as our guest of honor. We have small female business vendors coming in, and they're going to be promoting their businesses. And we have raffle prizes. And again, we have our father-daughter hairstyling contest. And we also do these awards called the Best Dressed Laadaliyan Awards.
Yeah.
So the ones, come all, dressed up and they look beautiful. So they get these awards. And it's just, it's fun for the whole family. And I really recommend, I mean, if it's a Sunday night, and it's a nice time to come out and engage. And I mean, if you believe in the cause, it's a good time to come out and contribute, as well as enjoy your family's company and celebrate your daughters and all the women in our lives, whether it's our daughters, our sisters, our moms, our wives, our friends, anybody. So we're really hoping that it's going to be a good turnout. And yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining us, Manvir, and we wish you all the best for May 15th event.
Thank you so
and
much.
This great initiative that you've started.
Thank you for having me.
And for all the Laadaliyans out there, mark your calendars for May 15th and make sure you bring your parents, your friends, your siblings, because there's nothing girls can't fight and conquer. Till next time, I'm Ayushe Sharman. Stay strong.
#1 multicultural channel. This is TAG TV.